An example of dividend policy followed by a firm is provided by General Motors. General Motors pays a regular dividend each quarter from 1983 until June 2008, when it entered financial distress and it cut the dividend to zero. On June 1, 2009, the company entered Chapter 11. The sequence of all quarterly dividends paid by the company are displayed on the graph that is in front of you. As you can readily see from the graph, dividends have been fairly stable over time, and most of the time the company kept the dividend constant. Occasionally, the company raised the dividend or decreased the dividend, but for most quarters the dividend remained unchanged from the previous quarter. What is interesting is to compare the sequence of dividends with the sequence of earnings per share, which are displayed in the next graph. In this graph, you have the blue line, which represents the sequence of the dividend payments. These are the same sequence that we had in the previous graph. If you compare the sequence of the dividend with the sequence of earnings per share, which are displayed in the graph by the red line, you can see immediately that the sequence of earnings per share is very volatile, much more volatile than the dividends. Dividends remain very stable compared to the earnings per share. The company smoothed out the dividend over time. Earlier in the sequence, earnings per share have increased over time, and the company has moderately increased the dividend to reflect the increase in the trend of earnings per share. This is this part of the graph. After that, in the early 90s, earnings per share were negative, and the company has reacted by decreasing the dividends during this period of time. Earnings per share then became positive again, with a slightly positive trend. This has been reflected by a moderate increase in the dividends. During the late 1990s and the early decade of this century, earnings per share have been quite volatile, but on average they remain constant, and the companies pay a constant dividend over time. In the later part of the last decade, earnings per share have shown a negative trend, and the company has responded by cutting moderately the dividend. Toward the end of the series, the earnings per share have been rather negative, and the company cut the dividend to zero. This is an example of smoothing of dividends by a company when earnings per share are very volatile. It's a nice example of dividend smoothing.